The west side of the river had been dominated by dead forests and residential areas. The northeast was a big industrial ruin. The roads were choked with debris ranging from chunks of buildings to collapsed steel girders, making a maze that has us constantly backtracking and working our way around obstacles. I needed to find some place to hole up while we tried to reconnect with P-21, Scotch tape, and Lacuna. I had Scotch's pip-buck tag, and she had mine, so it was inevitable that we'd meet sooner or later. And the question was, what would we meet in the meantime? There wasn't really any place safe to hole up here. Most of the buildings were collapsed, and every now and then my pip-buck would let out clicks to remind us that this was no spot for resting. The problem was that it was starting to get dark. I'd sucked up enough radiation to let me see clearly and had my EFS to warn me about things. But Glory didn't have either of those advantages. What do you think it was? I asked as we carefully picked our way down a street littered with rusty barrels and pools of rainbow-hued water. In Diamond's office, I mean. That thing that cut all the flashers into pieces and tried to get my pip-buck. And why had it tried to impersonate Goldenblood of all ponies? I don't really know, she replied as she kicked out of a rat roach that had been looking for a nibble. Well, Actually, I did know one person who could take over a system like that. I rose to my hooves and flicked my ears. Listen, I said, as I looked around the dark, dizzy ruins. Can you hear a tuba? Trombone? Tambourine? She looked at me oddly. Should I? There was a little worry in her voice. I guess that when it came to a mare as messed up as I was, it was valid. There it was. Distant music barely audible over the rain. I half guessed the direction and trotted as fast as I could through this shell of some factory. For once, luck was in my favor. The music was growing louder. It was the obnoxious oompa oompa playing that no pony in the right mind would like. And then I spotted the little flying sprite bot. It'd clearly seen better days, given it was missing one eye and made a decidedly staticky noise. Watcher! I leapt over a murky storm drain and grabbed the robot with my magic. Watcher? Glory asked in confusion as I pulled the sprite bot in front of me. A friend. He's sort of given me help every now and then. He can take over computer systems and stuff. He might know. I grinned as I looked at the robot. Hey, Watcher! Watcher! I frowned and gave the robot a vigorous shake. Watcher! Easy, Blackjack, don't break it! The bot suddenly said in a mechanical voice. Nice to see you too, Blackjack. After a moment, the bot crackled again. Whoa, what happened to you? Nice eye patch. Then the bot turned to face Glory. Oh. Yeah, awkward. Trust me, I'd rather have kept the eye. Listen, I need to ask you a computer smart pony question. How do you take over the sprite bots? We've run into this thing. It's doing the exact same thing, taking over computer systems. Spike coughed. Well, you remember the thing in the place? I glanced at Glory's confused and faintly annoyed expression, and then nodded. Well, it's one of the most powerful of its kind ever. A Crusader mainframe, a magical and technological wonder. There are only a few made across Equestria, and only for crucial projects. So you think that thing might be using one of these? Maybe. Or it's possibly a knockoff. Or maybe some pony in the wasteland found enough parts to make one. After all, why only make 3 when you can have 9 at triple the price? Only the 6 get to be kept secret for your own sinister ends. I see. So if there was a Crusader mainframe out there, or if it's equivalent, then some pony was using it to take over systems? Somehow it had animated an entire factory to try and take EC-1101 by force. Then it had tried to trick me, badly, using Goldenblood's illusion. Both felt sloppy, blunt, like whoever was behind it really wasn't putting that much thought into it. Can you think of any place around Hoofington that might have a top-secret you-know-what? I asked with a grin. If you'd asked anywhere else, then I might have a clue. There might be one hidden away in Tenpony, but they'd never confirm it. Robronco wanted one in the last year of the war, but Applebloom turned them down. It's a fair bet the OIA had one somewhere. Maybe one in the MWT Hub, or Canterlot, or Hoofington. Again, nothing confirmed. Hoofington was Equestria's biggest research hub. Even if there wasn't a you-know-what there, with enough research mainframes that somebody might be able to come close. Sorry. I know Stapletalk built them, but that's about all. Thanks, Watcher. I said with a smile. How are things in the rest of Equestria? I haven't had time to listen to DJ Pony. I glanced at Glory with a sheepish grin. From her look, I had yet more explaining to do. Weird. Little Pip was in Philadelphia a little while ago. Now she's off to Splendid Valley, and I'm not sure why. Red Eye's got an army moving towards Tenpony. For a while, I was hoping that the Rangers might do something about it, but they're all headed to Celestia knows where. Something's going on, and I don't like it. How are you doing? I sighed. Okay, I've got a few months to live. Taint and cancer. That was all there was to say about that. Then I looked at Glory and gave her a crooked little smile. Hey, could you please give me a little privacy? I need to talk about you behind your back. She looked at me with a sharp frown, putting her wing at me before sighing and shaking her head. I watched her move to the other end of the factory, looking back frequently. Blackjack? Watcher asked. I turned my back to Glory so she couldn't see my face. I almost lost her, Spike. I said softly as I looked at the sprite bot's remaining eye. She was right there in front of me, and she fell. And I couldn't do anything. I felt myself melting down as I let myself finally face that horrible truth. One of my enemies saved her just to fuck with me. And I'm so happy she's alive. God, I'm so happy. But I'm scared shitless it'll happen again, Spike. My legs were shaking so bad I couldn't hold onto the robot. I took a deep sniff. I don't know what to do. I don't. I want to keep her safe and happy. The bot was silent for the longest time. I glanced over my shoulder. Glory was shielding her eyes with her wing as she kept an eye on the rad roaches scurrying around the ruins around us. Damn things were cluttering on my EFS with red bars. Finally, Spike answered. I don't know what to tell you, Blackjack. I really don't. You can't send her away. She doesn't seem like a mare who'd trot off even if you asked her to. So, just do your best to make her happy and keep her as safe as you can. That's all you can do. But what if she dies? I whimpered, feeling like an absolute fool. I needed some adult to tell me it was going to be okay. Then, that's a real bad day. But you have to remember all the good parts, that knowing her is worthwhile. I miss Twilight every single day because I can remember what she meant to me. You have to do the same for Glory, for as long as you can. I sighed. Really? I was hoping for some kind of miraculous solution you might have. I've got to do something to keep her safe before this taint eats me alive. I sniffed, but it was impossible to tell if I was crying or not. I just never wanted to feel this way again. Oh well, hopefully we can at least work out some things between the Rangers and the Reapers. Stupid war. I hated war. I hated the whole concept of ponies, and ponies should not know war. Rangers. Was it just me or did the synthetic voice sound alarmed? I was starting to smoke. You're going near them. I gave a nod. Then it buzzed sharply. Blackjack. You can't. Make sure. See. And then the sprite bot gave one last anemic crackle, and with a loud pop, and it dropped in front of me. I caught it in my hooves. Watcher? Watcher! Somehow the sight of the poor dead sprite bot wanted to make me cry. Can I come back now? Glory asked. I put the little bot down in my bag with a sniff as I looked at her. She saw the look on my face and her irritation slipped away. Talking about what happened? Yeah. I replied and wiped my face for any treasonous tears as I trotted towards her. Well, nothing's going to stop a spasm of pain shot through my leg, and it was all I could do not to scream as I sprawled out on my face into the muck. What in the goddess's name was... The manticore's claws snatched inches from my spine as the winged monstrosity landed almost on top of me. With rainbow muck on my cheeks, I stared up at the monster as it crouched down beside me. My horn brought vigilance around as I slipped into sats for 3 rounds to its body. I didn't want to wait for a clear shot at its head. The firearm roared above me and carved the great bloody holes into the beast's hide. Hot, wet guts and gore slipped out, but it wasn't dead yet. The beast roared and reared around with a half-roll, half-flail of its fangs, chomping inches from my belly. A green beam struck it, and with one deep growl, it shuddered and fell into a heap. But it had already given our position away. The manticores were winging in from every direction at once. By the time they were in range from my EFS to pick up, they were diving down on us. In this building shell, we were effectively in a great big food bowl. I fought to ignore the throbbing pain. Not now, body. I needed you to work. We've got to get out of here, I shouted. 20 to 2 were not odds that I liked. I got to my hooves in time for a stinger to catch on one of the ceramic plates near my rump. I blasted the beast in return. Glory sent emerald beams slicing through the air, the glowing illuminating the others circling around to make their attacks. I looked in the direction we'd come, but 3 crouched there behind some cover. The beasts were learning. "Hey, security!" yelled a mare from the darkness above. "I was thinking, why don't you make this easy, huh? Give up. We'll make it clean and quick." I couldn't tell myself. Wiping the grime off my face and ignoring the clicking noise, I laughed at the shadows above. "Oh, goddesses. Do you have lousy timing or what? You think you're going to be able to get me to give up just after I got laid? I can take all you fuckers on." I floated out Taurus's rifle. "Come on, monster mare. Show me your face before you tell me your sob story and give me a whole new world of guilt." "Funny. So did I," crackled the monster pony somewhere above me. "My pets are very well trained." "Okay, you..." Still, she wasn't taking the bait. We couldn't go up, couldn't go any other direction, and that left... "Glory, the drain. Get in the drain." "The what?" she shouted, staring at me in shock. "Are you crazy?" "Yes, now shoot the grate and get down there," I yelled, wheeling as I saw another manticore making its dive. 2 rounds made it veer off, but another swept by and raked me with his claws. I nearly went down. Glory shot the drain cover with her beam rifle but hesitated. Now that we had her out to escape, the monster mare gave a bestial shriek, and the flying creatures began to move in all at once. I holstered vigilance and ran to where Glory balked at the edge of the hole. "Going down!" I shouted and gave her a little shove. She shrieked. 2 flew in, mouth stretched wide as I leapt in after her. The beasts collided inches from me as I disappeared into the frothy depths below. The fall wasn't that far, but suddenly I realized how much of a bad idea this was. I envisioned a nice big sewer we could trot along. What we jumped into was a pipe almost completely full of very cold, very fast water. It was all I could do to keep my face in the narrow pocket of air at the top of the storm drain. Bits of junk, mud, and rock ground against me as we shot through the earth. I bumped into the thrashing Glory and wrapped my hooves around her. I found her neck and lifted it above the water. She screamed, but it was the most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. She had to be alive to scream. If we hit a block, we were dead. If we hit a pump or something, we were dead. If we ran out of air, and just like that, the pocket of air disappeared. We were going down and moving faster. All I could see was the mutated darkness was Glory's mane. My lungs burned. Any exposed skin flared from where it was rubbed against the interior of the pipe.